Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. First up, Japanese regulators have issued punishment notices to 7 crypto exchanges. The Japanese regulators working overtime. These exchanges sent notices to around these 7 exchanges regarding their internal control systems. 2 of the exchanges are also closed for 1 month, which are BitStation and FSHO. Most of these exchanges just weren't up to par with internal controls. So that's regarding like how they store customers, custodial things, basically. Custodial things, authorization. That's what the internal controls typically undertakes or entails. But one of the exchanges, BitStation, was also in hot water for the employee or the owner, one of the two, for using customer Bitcoins for personal reasons. So Japan has had the most hands-on regulation so far, and we can only hope that they set a good example for the rest of the world and do not suffocate under over-regulation. U.S. officials praise blockchain amid ICO concerns. The general mood was positive at this last conference with U.S. officials, and they see the potential for the blockchain technology. However, regulation is still quite ambiguous in the U.S. And why do I say that? Well, 3-4 different agencies are claiming domain over crypto, and they're not entirely wrong. It's just that there has to be kind of a special thing for crypto rather than trying to have 4 agencies call it a different thing and try to police it. So until that's solved, that's one of the major things the U.S. has to get over. But in this conference specifically, the regulation was just kind of talked about, even if it wasn't really the main concern. And there's really no direction of where we're going in the U.S. legal wise, especially with the last SEC kind of statements they've been shooting out. And we can only hope that the U.S. realizes that a one-size-fits-all solution will not work for crypto, because each coin is quite different from each other. Sierra Leone holds first ever blockchain presidential vote, and the results are also in for it. So Sierra Leone has used blockchain to reduce voter fraud, and it utilized a permissioned blockchain by Swiss company Agora. It only occurred in one district, not the whole country, but it does show that it can be applicable for a larger scale. The blockchain was just for logging votes, as it counted each vote after they were manually counted. So there's still a chance for fraud there, but it's kind of a backup in case of a recount, or just there, like it's a set record there that this is how much X person got. And it just shows the success that this can have in a peaceful election. However, in a more violent and aggressive election, or a more suppressed election, in the end, this doesn't even matter, because the opposition or the current, whoever's in charge, could just physically suppress it rather than having to use voter fraud. Ripple CEO, cryptocurrency market has outsized reaction to SEC announcement. So the SEC announcement was the one about exchanges having to register or delist ICO tokens. And yes, this announcement kind of made everyone think ICO's tokens are in hot water with any US exchange. But I guess in reality, it's not really too many different exchanges that are US based and actually host a lot of ICO tokens besides Bittrex and Polynex, and every other one's kind of like smaller and under the radar in comparison. I'm assuming he said that the market has outsized the reaction just because he's not wrong. The US is far from the center of crypto anymore. It's probably more of like it's more like a secondary market. Crypto is mainly focused in Asia, Japan, and Korea specifically right now. Europe's trying to catch up. I mean, the US is a very important market, but globally, crypto is kind of not going to be affected by U.S. ruling, especially with the fact that even being a U.S. citizen, you still can get over humps to interact with the market. So just because these exchanges have to do a bunch of garbage, doesn't mean people won't be trading, especially as the rise of decentralized exchanges come up from all these regulations. Major Russian social network sites to accept cryptocurrency payments. So, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this, but the one's really popular, VK. I'm sure you probably heard about it. But there's another one. It's VK and OK. And they're offering advertisers the option to pay with Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. Additionally, employees will be able to opt in their salary in crypto. So both sites are controlled by Mail.ru Group, and payments will be processed through BitPay. And considering Russia's positive outlook they've been having lately with crypto and trying to be on the forefront of it instead of relying on others' innovation, it's not surprised that a major Russian company is pushing it now. Winklevoss twins hint at Gemini supporting Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Big implications for the CBOE futures. So, as I was saying earlier about U.S. exchanges, Gemini is one of those exchanges, and they've been very slow with adding new coins. And I guess the better word would be meticulous. And since CBOE, which is the Chicago clearinghouse, they have an exclusive deal with Gemini, and what coins they support for their futures depend on what Gemini supports. And currently, they only support Bitcoin and Ethereum. But after this conference that was recently took place, there seems to be sentiment to adding Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. I don't think we'll see ERC20 tokens anytime soon until this SEC ICO register on unregistered security whole thing is resolved. But any coin that was mined any coin that was primarily mined or just given away for free, basically anyone had free access to any coin that didn't try to raise money is a good contender to be added to exchanges now. But they're not really as popular as they used to be. So it's understandable why they would imply that Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash would be added, since they wouldn't have any regulatory matters dragging them down. And I'm sure if Monero wasn't crazily pro privacy and impossible to track, then Coinbase or Gemini would add Monero also, since it was a coin that didn't try to raise money. It's also a very major coin, but the privacy aspect is something regulators do not care for. The EU reveals enabling framework for blockchain and fintech and wants to be a global hub. So I mentioned this framework last time, and turns out the framework is pretty general and not too bad. They're trying to have a creation of a EU fintech laboratory, a blockchain observatory, the promotion of digital digitalization of information from the registered companies, cybersecurity efforts, and best practices on regulatory sandboxes. And this will all be based on the guidance of a European supervisory authority. So, I don't know, it doesn't sound too bad on paper, but we'll see how it turns up in reality when companies start following this EU framework. OKCoin CEO hints at China cooperation in link chat. So the CEO briefed the country's central bank on OKCoin's expansion overseas, its blockchain research, and the CEO made a commitment that the company is prepared to donate it to the country anytime in the future. And it's unclear what this it is. It could be the part of the company itself, or what the company finds out, data, research, who knows, but all you know is OKCoin is firmly committed to supporting the People's Bank of China in whatever they're trying to do. CFTC ex-chair says crypto bubble won't burst without set regulation to bring big money in. And it makes perfect sense if you think about it. Why is the market crashing right now? Mainly, the major reason was because the Mt. Gox trustee, someone who was just trying to get the fiat out, just concerned about fiat conversion. And with big money in here, that's what they're going to be concerned about. Because right now, even if the market overall has taken a hit from what it was in the past few months, a lot of the people who are still in are in because they believe in the technology or the ideals behind it. They don't see short-term or profit in the US dollar or euro or whatever. They believe in the system of crypto. Meanwhile, once big money pours in, all they want is go to crypto to dollar or crypto to whatever currency. And you can expect that's when it'll burst hard as people try to retain profit or make up for lost profit. Because right now, there's still plenty of holders. Praetorian Group files to be first ICO to sell registered security tokens in the US. So the Praetorian Group, referred to as a cryptocurrency real estate investment vehicle, just might be the first registered security if the SEC accepts them. So most US companies that try to be legally kind of good, usually go for an exemption and only aim for accredited investors. But the Praetorian Group is looking to be fully registered with the SEC as a security. And what they're trying to do is develop residential and commercial properties in lower income areas that they believe will rise in value. So basically, gentrification with a crypto twist. Crypto exchange Bittrex says they're compliant with SEC rules, ICO rules. So Bittrex is trying to alleviate concerns that they'll have to close down or delist a lot of coins, or even possibly register with the SEC. And they defend that their token selection is rigorous, and they get a U.S. qualified law firm to confirm that the tokens that they are allowed to be traded is not a violation of the securities law. And personally, I think you'll find at least one token that probably could pass the security. I think this is going to be something that might go into a legal battle, and then it's going to be brought up how crypto's in the domain of a lot of different agencies. So who knows what's going to happen. I think this SEC trying to enforce exchanges to register or delist ICO tokens is not going to go over well, especially considering all it's doing is limiting any exchange that has a presence in the U.S. Wall Street analysis creating a Bitcoin misery index for traders. So this was just a cool thing to mention, but you don't really need a misery index to see how all the recent news is making people incredibly bearish. And I expect a lot of coins to be kind of called off after this string of regulatory hurdles hits into 2018. And this is just another time where people just have to hang in there because it's rough. And who knows how long this market's going to be like it is, because there's too many factors keeping it down right now. And that whole trusty thing with Mt. Gox is really my main concern with how long the market can be this suppressed, because it's not going up until they're done liquidating all they need to liquidate. Well, I mean, it's not going to go up massive gains until that happens, or unless it's like offset with regulatory implementations from countries that allow that big money to pour in. But who knows? Praetorian presents blockchain scaling solution that can make exchanges hack resistant. And when I read this, I thought it was more like a conceptual thing for governments, honestly, because the original scaling solution is called Plasma, and it works by optimizing data that's passed onto the root blockchain and reducing transaction feed for smart contracts and dApps. But it requires people to download the entire network for it to really work as intended. So Plasma Cash was born, and this is what I'm saying. It's kind of like seems like something that kind of fit a government more, because the example that was presented is Plasma coin will be created with the same value of Ether, and then will have a unique ID that cannot be merged or split. And people could also confirm or not if payments were supposed to be sent. It's kind of sent in a complaint to a third party to solve any kind of issues regarding that. So in theory, a hacker that tried to withdraw Plasma could be denied, and it all would revert back because the original proof was still with the exchange or something like that. I think for me, it's too conceptual, or I'm just not smart enough to understand it fully. And I feel like it's something that would probably find out had a decent amount of problems if you actually tried to implement it. I just think it's something that's a little too early and really needs time to actually be tested before anything comes about from it. South Korea's largest crypto exchange, BitThumb, is supplying crypto kiosks to restaurants. So this is a good thing for actual usage of crypto. Korea and Japan are the main countries I could ever see even using these right now, especially since Korea is really crazy for crypto, and the dense areas make it a lot easier for adoption of such things. So hopefully it does give a rise out of people to actually utilize crypto for the original purpose it was created, and that is to be a currency. Venezuelan president claims Petro pre-sale raked in $5 billion. So if these stats are true, then they have done it. Venezuela has surpassed the U.S. sanctions with a crypto ICO. $5 billion more than they would have ever had doing anything else. And Maduro says that it will be used to reinvigorate the country. But I'm kind of so skeptical on the Petro, because will it actually represent oil of the country, or will it just be a sanctioned country running off with $5 billion of foreign investor money? Who knows? Only the future will tell. And finally, crypto advertisers on Google AdWords are reporting ad suspensions and account terminations. So, if you've been listening to me for a while, I've mentioned this a few months ago when I first saw it with Facebook, and I said that this will probably happen, that if Facebook is censoring crypto ICO ads, it's only inevitable that other traditional ad platforms also make the move to censor crypto ads. And the ad industry itself is already filled with fraud, and it's not surprising that they just decided to just phase out all crypto ads rather than try to regulate the good from the bad. It's not worth their effort, probably, in comparison to where their money's coming from ad-wise. So, the main validation for this action to remove everything is they're saying that ICOs aren't properly advertising the risk of investing. So because these bad actors, a few legitimate businesses are suffering by having their AdWords accounts suspended or straight up terminated. And these are companies that aren't even ICO related. They're just regular blockchain related companies. So that just sucks for them, but I figured this would happen. It's just, it makes sense that Google would move to try to protect the more gullible people, considering even in crypto, people were falling for Google AdWord phishing scams of exchanges or legitimate businesses. It only makes sense that ICOs would also be just axed off. And now that I think about it, it's probably like a combination of two. Just makes it easier for them just to not have to deal with thousands of complaints, I guess. I don't know. But like I said, this was totally expected, and it's unfortunate. So, that's been the news on this Monday. See you next time. See you this Thursday. And tune in for another interview session on the weekend. See you then. Rate some more, because I'm on like 4 platforms. 5, something like that. Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and I guess the default Libsyn playlist. So go out and rate whatever you're listening to, whatever platform you're using, iHeartRadio, any of those 7 platforms. So rate, and I'll see you on Thursday.